All right, so we are on to our last finishing coil. Now you can see the first finishing coil has already been added, blended, still a little wavy, still has some irregularities. You can baby that a little bit better than me. I just get impatient when it comes to smoothing. And if you notice the edge of the styrofoam bowl, we have some room there, and that's where our finishing coil, our final last finishing coil, is going to sit. Hopefully you have space for that. And I want you to use that white styrofoam bowl rim, that edge, as a guide. It's perfectly circular, right? So we want our very last ring, very last coil ring to also be equally circular. So that needs to be your goal for that final last ring you're going to place on your bowl. Now, that last and final coil should not only be a perfect circle, but it should also be pinky thick. The only thing is, it's a little difficult to roll out a long pinky thick single coil. So I've rolled out two. I've got two that are going to meet up and will fool people into thinking it's one long pinky thick coil, when in fact you can see it's two. Okay, nobody will know. Now you're going to want a bird's eye view staring down at your bowl. So you're probably going to need to stand a little bit for this when kind of placing and adjusting that ring, or two rings that are going to form to become one ring. So right now I'm just kind of placing the ring on there. I'm adjusting the length of the two coils to come together and form one coil or one ring. You know, don't rush this. Take your time. And if you see a gap, a hole where the top of the bowl meets up with this last ring, don't worry about it. We're going to fill in those gaps later. You'll see me do that later. So now I'm just snipping the ends of the two coils so that they can come together with ease. You can see I'm kind of pressing down gently on the ring, and I'm eyeballing the styrofoam bowl rim. You can see my coil here, it kind of bounces up, and so I'm pressing it down. I'm rolling it back a little bit. So you want your final last finishing coil, finishing ring, to sit along the outermost edge of your styrofoam bowl. Again, I can't stress that enough. Use the white styrofoam bowl rim as your guide. If you see gaps between your bowl and this final finishing coil, patch it like we've done before. Maybe don't use a ball of clay like we've previously done. Make it kind of like a short coil, short fat coil, almost like a fat worm. Fill in any gaps with little clay fat worms. And you can see I'm eyeballing this. I'm staring down. I've got my bird's eye view. I'm just double checking that last coil is as round as I can get it. You want it really close to being as round as possible. So here I'm patching some more. I see a few more gaps where the styrofoam bowl is peeking through, and that's what you want to plug up. It almost looks like little pieces of chewing gum filled in. So I've got my gaps filled. I'm now blending those gaps gently. Do that with like the lightest touch possible, because you don't want to damage that final ring. That's your official finishing ring. Think of, the rim of a cereal bowl in your kitchen cabinet. It's perfectly circular, right? So we want to maintain that. That outer part of that coil needs to stay round. Now I'm going to proceed to blend the seam of my final last coil ring. Have your free hand bracing that coil. Try not to blend the top of the coil, just the seam. And you can do that diagonally. You can blend from top to bottom. You can blend from the bottom up. It's your call, whatever feels comfortable, however the clay is going to cooperate. Just focus on that line, the seam. So that'll take a little bit of time, just slowly moving around and blending the seam.